Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tiriyat. Nashtu Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtaki. So we're discussing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 2. But before that, Anjali Mataji has a question about what we discussed yesterday. So what Brahmaji is saying that Krishna, you are the original Narayan, or you are Narayan. People say he's not God, or he's just a cowherd boy. But that's not true. Krishna is Narayan. Actually, Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. So from Bhagavatam, we know that Krishna, and then Krishna expands himself as first expansion is Balramji. And from Balramji comes first Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. From Sankarshan comes Narayan. Narayan is all the Vishnu avatars, like Hiranyakashipu, or not, I'm sorry, Narsingadev, Vamandev, Varadev. They're all expansions of Narayan. And from this Narayan comes second Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. And from second Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. He expands as Mahavishnu. And then all the universes, material universes, come out of him. And then from Mahavishnu himself expands, enters each and every universe, and then he becomes Garbhodaksha Vishnu. From his navel, the lotus flower sprouts on which Brahmaji appears. And then Brahmaji does a creation, but then to have the creation get activated, Garbhodaksha Vishnu expands as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, then Kshirodaksha Vishnu expands as Paramatma in every atom. So that was basically the thing, that Krishna is the original. From him Narayan comes. He is the original. When they are expansion, they are all Vishnu Tattva categories. So we can say Krishna is the original Narayan. And there was a word that came, Turiya. The Turiya indicates the Lord is the fourth member of the quadruple expansion of Godhead called Chaturviha. In other words, Lord Krishna is Vasudeva. So therefore, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. So Krishna is the fourth expansion, that is Vasudeva. I hope that makes sense, Mataji. Chalo, now let's start with the text 60. Brahma Atma Bhagavan Krishnera Vihar Ei Artha Na Jani Murka Artha Karya. Not knowing that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are all features of Krishna, foolish scholars speculate in various ways. So they're all features of Krishna. Or Bhagavatam says they're all aspects of Krishna. But the difference is, there is a difference. Difference is, we don't do worship or bhakti. Bhakti is not for Brahman or Paramatma. It's only for Bhagavan. In India, they use this term Paramatma very often. And very liberally they use this term Paramatma. But Paramatma is in our heart. He is sitting as a witness, as a sanctioner in our heart. And he is noticing all the desires that we have, all the karmas that we are doing. But we don't do bhakti for Paramatma. Bhakti is only for Bhagavan, not for Paramatma, and it could be for Narayan feature. See, Narayan feature expands himself as Paramatma. That's the difference. Paramatma is Chaturvud form, and Narayan is also Chaturvud. But we do bhakti for Narayan, like Lakshmi Narayan, Sita Ram, or Lakshmi Vishnu, but not for Paramatma. So we have to understand the basic difference. Although they all are same aspect, but bhakti is for Bhagavan. Avatari Narayan, Krishna avatar, teho chaturbhuja iha manushya akar. Because Narayan has 4 hands, whereas Krishna looks just like a man. They say that Narayan is the original God, whereas Krishna is but an incarnation. Some scholars argue that because Narayan has 4 hands, whereas Shri Krishna has only 2, Narayan is the original personality of God, and then Krishna is his incarnation. Such unintelligent scholars do not understand the features of the Absolute. So, even if look, Narayan has 4 hands, Chaturbhuja Roop, and this is how he has his pastimes. This is how they look. But that doesn't mean Krishna is an expansion of or incarnation of Narayan. Ei mate nana rupe kare purva paksha tahare nirchite bhagavad padya daksha. In this way, their arguments appear in various forms, but the poetry of the Bhagavatam expertly refutes them all. So Bhagavatam says, Vadanti tattva tattva vidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagvaniti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth say that it is non-dual knowledge and is called impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead. So that is the absolute truth. Non-dual knowledge. Non-dual means there is no difference in tattva-wise. But manifestation-wise, yes, there is difference between Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahmajyoti. Shunam bhai e shlok kara vichar, eka mukhya tattvatin tahara prachar. My dear brothers, kindly listen to the explanation of this verse and consider its meaning. The one original entity is known in his 3 different features. Advajnam tattvavastu Krishnera swarupa, Brahma Atma Bhagavan, Tinatara Rupa. Lord Krishna himself is the one undivided absolute truth, the ultimate reality. He manifests himself in 3 features as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So he manifests himself in 3 features. In the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam cited above, the principal word Bhagavan indicates the personality of Godhead, and Brahman and Paramatma are concomitants deduced from the absolute personality. As a government and its ministers are deductions from the supreme executive head. In other words, the principal truth is exhibited in 3 different phases. The absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, Bhagavan, is also known as Brahman and Paramatma, although these features are identical. So features are identical in terms of Vishnu Tattva, but still Bhagavan is Bhagavan. Ei shlokera arthe tumi haila nirvachan, are ek shun bhagavatera vachan. The import of this verse has stopped you from arguing. Now listen to another verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now this is the Paribhashya Sutra of Bhagavatam. Ete chanchakala punsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge. All these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. So all these incarnations, so in that chapter before This is the 28th verse. Before that, Vedvyasi had, or Shukdev Goswami described different incarnations of Krishna. So in this verse he says, all these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Krishna's tu, Bhagwan, but tu means but Krishna is the Supreme. He did not call for Bhagwan, Ram, I mean, all the incarnation that he listed, he did not call them Bhagwan. He said, Krishna is the Swayam Bhagwan. In every age, he protects the world through his different features. Then the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. So enemies of Indra, not his personal enemies, he's a devotee. So those who disturb the devotees, Krishna appears to protect the world. So this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam definitely negates the concept that Shri Krishna is an avatar or of Vishnu or Narayana. Lord Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, the supreme cause of all causes. This verse clearly indicates that the incarnations of the personality of Godhead, such as Sri Ram, Narasimha, and Varaha, are undoubtedly belong to the Vishnu group, but that all of them are either plenary portions or portions of plenary portions of the original personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. Brahm Samhita also, we have studied that if we take a candle and we light up so many different candles, so every candle will give the same light, same candle power. But the original candle is still the original candle. So that original personality of Godhead is Krishna. Now, Brahm Samhita explaining the candle, giving the candle example. So it just, for us, it looks like, okay, at some time the candles were not lit, all the other candles. But that's not the case. They all are eternal. Everybody is eternal. But it just original is Krishna. That's it, this just to make us understand. Otherwise, that example doesn't really fit in that sense, that okay, that at some time the other candles might not be lit. But no, that's not the case. Just like a jiva is Sanatan, but we are called part and parcel of Krishna. So we are part and parcel of Krishna. Does that mean sometime we were not part, we were inside Krishna? No. Balramji's expansion of Krishna, does it mean there was a time when Balramji was not there? No. See, these examples are good, but because in the material world we are limited by time and space, our understanding, our existence, so we think everything is limited by time and space. That doesn't work in the spiritual world. Sab avatarera kari samanya lakshan, tar madhya Krishna chandrera kari laganam. The Bhagavatam describes the symptoms and deeds of the incarnations in general and counts Shri Krishna among them. Tabe Suta Gosai mane paya bada bhaya, yare je lakshan taha karila nishaya. This made Sut Goswami, okay, Sut Goswami, so that was not Shukdev Goswami, greatly apprehensive. Therefore, he distinguished each incarnation by its specific symptoms. Avatar sab purushera kalansha, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna sarva avatansha. All the incarnations of Godhead are plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But the primeval Lord is Sri Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all incarnations. So fountainhead means everything comes from him. पूर्व पक्ष कहे तो मार भाला ते व्याख्यान पर व्योम नारायण स्वयं भगवान. An opponent may say this is your interpretation, but actually the Supreme Lord is Narayan, who's in the transcendental reality. तेहा श्री कृष्ण रूपे करे न अवतार यही अर्थ श्लोके देखी कियार विचार. He, Narayan, incarnates as Lord Shri Krishna. This is the meaning of the words as I see it. There is no need for further consideration. That's what they say. Tare kehe ke na kar kutar kanuman shastra viruddhartha kabu na haya praman. To such a misguided interpreter, we may reply, why should you suggest such a fallacious logic? An interpretation is never accepted as evidence if it opposes the principles of scripture. Anuvadam anutvavtu na videya mudirayet nahi alabdhap stabdam kinchit kutrachit pratishtati. One should not state a predicate before its subject, for it cannot stand without proper support. So this rhetorical rule appears in the Ekadashi Tattva, 13th canto, in connection with the metaphorical use of words. An unknown object should not be put before the known subject, because the object has no meaning if the subject is not first given. So unknown object, so should not be given before the known subject. So just like although I'm not an expert English grammarian, can we say Great Delhi? Or can we say Delhi Great? So the subject is, if subject is not first given, the object has no meaning. So great is the object and subject is Delhi. So if subject Delhi is given before great, then I don't know, I'm confused here. I'm not a grammarian, but this is what the word is. Because this Bhagavad Krishna stu Bhagwan Swayam. Anuvad na kaya na kahi vidheya, aage anuvad kahi paschad vidheya. If I do not state a subject, I do not state a predicate. First I speak the former, and then I speak the latter. Vidheya kahiye tare ye vastu agyata, anuvad kahi tare yehi hai agyata. The predicate of a sentence is what is unknown to the reader, whereas the subject is what is known to him. Yaiche kahi vipra parama pandita, vipra anuvadiya videya panditya. For example, we may say, oh yeah, so this vipra is a greatly learned man. In this sentence, vipra is the subject and the predicate is his erudition. Or Delhi is a great city. So Delhi is a subject and greatness is a predicate. Vipratva vikhyatatar panditya gyan ateva vipra age panditya paschat. The man's being a vipra is known, but his erudition is unknown. Therefore, the person is identified first and his erudition later. Taichaiha avatar sava hayile gyat kara avatar vastu abhigyat. In the same way, all these incarnations were known, but whose incarnations they are, was unknown. Ete shabde avatare age anuvad. Purushera ansha pache videya samvad. First, the word ete, these, establishes the subject, incarnations. Ete chanch kalavancha. Then plenary portions of the Purusha avatars follows as a predicate. Taiche Krishna avatar bhitare hai lagya, tahara vishesha gyan saiya vigyan. In the same way, when Krishna was first counted among the incarnations, specific knowledge about him was still unknown. अतएव कृष्ण शब्द आगे अनुवाद स्वयं भागवता पीछे विधेय संवाद. Therefore, first the word Krishna appears as a subject, followed by the predicate describing him as the original personality of Godhead. Krishna's tu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishnera Swayam Bhagavata Iha Haila Santya Swayam Bhagwanera Krishna Tva Haila Bhantya. This establishes that Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead is therefore necessarily Krishna. Krishna yadi ansha haita anshi narayan tabe viparita haita sutera vachan. Had Krishna been the plenary portion and Narayan the primeval Lord, the statement of Sutta Goswami would have been reversed. Narayana anshiye swayama bhagwan tena Krishna aiche karita vyakyan. Thus, he would have said, Narayan, the source of all incarnations, is the original personality of Godhead. He has appeared as Shri Krishna. But this is not how Sutta Goswami said. Brahma pramad vipralipsa karana pata arsha vigya vakya nahi dosha ei sab. So in the conditioned soul, it is said, mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the saying of the authoritative sages. So these four not the mistakes, I would say, these four the conditions of a conditioned soul, or the characteristics of a conditioned soul. They make mistakes, we are illusioned, we have cheating propensity, and we have defective perception or imperfect senses. Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa, Karana, Apatav. Srimad Bhagavatam has listed the avatars, the plenary expansions of the Purusha, and Lord Krishna appears among them. But the Bhagavatam further explains Lord Krishna's specific position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, reason and argument establish that his position is always supreme. Had Krishna been a plenary expansion of Narayana, the original verse would have been differently composed. Indeed, its order would have been reversed. But there cannot be mistake, illusion, cheating, or imperfect perception in the words of liberated sages. Therefore, there is no mistake in this statement that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Sanskrit statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are all transcendental sounds. Srila Vyasadeva revealed these statements after perfect realization, and therefore they are perfect. For liberated sages like Vyasadeva never commit errors in their rhetorical arrangements. So unless one accepts this fact, there is no use in trying to obtain help from the revealed scriptures. So this is how perfectly the scriptures are composed. Whether Vyasadeva said, whether Sutta Goswami or Shukdev Goswami, everything is perfect because the liberated, self-realized, and everything they say actually comes from Krishna. Through them, but comes from Krishna. There cannot be any mistake. Mistake could be in our understanding. Mistake could be in our speculation, not in their writing. So Brahm refers to false knowledge or mistakes, such as accepting a rope as a snake or an oyster shell as gold. Pramad refers to inattention or misunderstanding of reality. And Vipralipsa is a cheating propensity. Karana Patav refers to imperfectness of the material senses. There are many examples of such imperfection. The eyes cannot see that which is very distant or very small. One cannot even see his own eyelid, which is the closest thing to his eye. And if one is disturbed by a disease like jaundice, he sees everything to be yellow. Yeah, that also happens. Similarly, the ears cannot hear distant sounds, since the personality of Godhead and his plenary portions and self-realized devotees are all transcendently situated. They cannot be misled by such deficiencies. So whatever Sutta Goswami spoke, it's perfect. Brahma Pranad Vipralipsa Karana Patava. It's not there in the writings or words of Sutta Goswami. So this shloka, Krishna's tu Bhagwan Swayam is perfect, means Krishna is not the incarnation of Narayan. They all are either plenary portions or portions of plenary portions of Krishna, because he is the original supreme personality of Godhead. So all these shlokas, just to make us understand again Krishna's position and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's position, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna. So we don't misunderstand or mistake the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when we read further. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.